Welcome. This is Straight Talk on Alpha Radio 99.3 FM. My name is Alex Obodo. I promised you that today we will try to have someone who can do some in-depth analysis on the issue of triangular equilibrium and zoning in Enugu State. We'll be having that guest in the next few minutes, but I would like you to understand that that conversation about triangular equilibrium is not a conversation that is a one-off. It is a conversation that must be heard in a real sense, in a sense that a lot of people will have their say on it. And of course, if you have the opportunity of calling into the program, we'd like you to be very, very clear and in terms of analysis, make the analysis based on fairness and justice, as it were. Based on what's happening within the state. The argument that we had yesterday, the basic set of arguments. One was that the Enugu North Territorial Zone are having the claim that they are the ones that made the current governor. And secondly, that they have the largest voting bloc. Two, that they deserve to have more infrastructure projects around them. And of course, that they also would want to have what you might call preferential treatment in terms of who is coming to do this and to do that. So typically you have a situation where they expect more from the government because they believe that they did more for the governor during his campaigns and during the voting processes. But some people from Enugu West are saying that if there is a senatorial zone that should indeed complain, it should be the Enugu West senatorial zone. They just have one tertiary institution in the whole of Enugu West. When you look at it, most of the tertiary institutions that are domiciled in Enugu, by grand design or by coincidence, all of them ended up in Enugu East senatorial zone because that's where you have the capital. All right. So, but you have University of Nigeria and Nsukka, which is a federal establishment. You also have now the what you call the SOMAS. That's University of Medicals and Applied Sciences, SOMAS Igbonekwu, which now a full-fledged state university operating out there from Igbonekwu. So, and a few other things. There are many things that have been said back and forth on how these things will go. So if you understand how it works, you'll be in a better position to actually be someone that when you are lending your voice to this, you will know that it's not so much about what you're getting, but also pay attention to what is available to be shared. They talk about you want everything. Are you being fair to the polity when you want everything and you don't care what happens to other people? Because the argument yesterday is about we don't know what's happening elsewhere, but we want A, B, C, D. And you forget that it's also going to be from that A, B, C, D that others are supposed to get something. So at the end of the day, there is always something that everyone will have to say. The demands are always there. People are always saying that they want this, that they want that. So everybody that should be in the value chain discussing and demanding, it is something that will be really instructive for people who are in politics in Enugu State. If you are in government, you will understand how this works. If you have more people who have appointments from your place, does it automatically give you an opportunity to have more development? Because a lot of times we have people who claim that having a lot of appointments don't always transform to development within one's community. But we'll find out all that because our guest is here. You hear him in the next few minutes. So he will be helping us to put things in perspective, as it were. So clearly, it is a discussion that will continue to go on. We will continue to have that conversation, and everyone that is something will have themselves enjoying the conversation this morning. And of course, I have my guest here in the studio, also Igbonekwu Ogazimorah. He is a former commissioner in Enugu State, former commissioner for information, and the editor-in-chief of the SBS Great Interviews. He is also a legal practitioner. Good morning to you, also.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
On Straight Talk this morning. So, I've been doing some preamble here. Triangular equilibrium was a coinage we started seeing from when Wodo was the governor of Enugu State in the early 90s, precisely around 1992. That's when that was coined. Yes. Help us put it in perspective, because at that time, Abakaliki was still here. That's Ebonyi State.
Yes.
It was until 96 when Ebonyi State left that Enugu State, the new Enugu State, also retained triangular equilibrium. This time, Enugu North, Enugu East, and Enugu West. So help us put it in perspective. Has triangular equilibrium, has it actually, in terms of staying power, has it been there good enough that it will continue, or has it been abused? Are there cracks in that triangle? Are people trying to abuse it, as it were?
Okay, thank you very much. The reality is that at the moment, if anybody is talking about triangular equilibrium, it is either the person is politically opportunistic or the person does not understand what triangular equilibrium was meant. In the first place, when Wodo introduced that triangular equilibrium, he was looking at, then Enugu State had just been excised from the old Anambra State, wherein you now have the Abakaliki region of the present-day Ebonyi State being part of Enugu State. Then you had the old Enugu region being the present Enugu West senatorial zone and Enugu East senatorial zone. And then you had the Nsukka region, that is the Enugu North senatorial zone. Now, in the equilibrium movement, Odo was talking about proper representation in spite of level of seniority. That is to say, in every political appointment, every civil service arrangement, there has to be representation of every of these three parts. So it was not meant to confer advantage on anybody. Now, after Abakaliki region left to form the present Abia State present Ebonyi State with the Afikpo region, which was then in Abia State, you are now left with Nsukka region and Old Enugu region. And by statute, the federal government now created 3 senatorial zones in the present Enugu State, wherein you have the Nsukka region, 6 local governments, the Nkanu region, that is the Enugu East, 6 local governments, and the West region, which is 5 local governments. So if you bring in the triangular equilibrium, and let me tell you the truth, if the proponents at the moment are Nsukka people, it means they don't understand it. Because if you should follow that, the triangular equilibrium, they are likely to be the loser. The gainers are going to be the Enugu West. Because if you say the representation must be equal, figuratively equal, then the number of state assembly members in Enugu North will be the equal of the number from Enugu West, will be the equal of the number from Enugu East. That is talking about the equilibrium. But then I understand what those people are talking about. You know, in 2022, when they were making the efforts to have the Nsukka region have another shot at governorship after Guruguru, they were underscoring this point that the Enugu East and the Enugu West had been of one region. Yes, they had been of one region. Just like you had the five Southeast states as one state, that's the central state. Just as you had the entire 11 states now as one eastern region. So such multiplication has become part of our political culture. If it is now created by statute, by law, Constitution of the Federal Republic, that these are three regions within the state, you call it political, senatorial zone or whatever, that is fine. But these are three regions that will have to be represented by a senator each. You cannot begin to alter it. You cannot say they are having any advantage. Then you look at the claim also about the numerical superiority and all that. Well, of course, people can always express their political fancies, but the truth is that you have to work with the law. The law says this number of federal or INEC wards, no matter where they are, it is possible that you have more in Enugu North. It is possible you have more in Enugu East. Now, the state government embarked on projects and used its criteria of citing as the INEC ward. Smart school, every INEC ward. Primary health center, every INEC ward. So the advantage has been conferred to those who have more. I cannot tell you right now that I know who has more, but it has been conferred on those people. But when you now come, when you are now sharing with others, sitting with others, you are bringing it into the zoning arrangement we have. You know, this zoning arrangement remains a political agreement. It's not even a constitutional thing. But then it is a political culture that has started here. It started and is been running well, and nobody has tried to mess it up. Where you have never do well politicians, they would have tried to mess it because it is very political tension, animosity, and sometimes violence, which follows making such contexts global, and then going out to begin to look at it critically. If the government says we are appointing a commissioner from each local government, those who have more always had more commissioners. If they say that appointing permanent secretaries from every local government, those who have more always had more. And at the end of the day, those who had less accepted the situation that yes, every local government is represented. If at the end of the day, the federal government now accepts the subdivision or creation of new local governments, then it is up to the people to now aspire to have it. There are so many local governments in Enugu State that are just too large in terms of land mass, and they have been there for a very long time. They ought to be split, at least to get a government presence in those regions. You have something like with the local government. If you check the distance between Nze, that is the northwesternmost part of Udi, to Nach, that's at the bridge, it's longer than the distance between Enugu and Onitsha. And it is a place that you can even consider an ungoverned region. If not, that at the moment, the government is saying we are sending these development indices according to what? And that's Bakumens and the rest of them, whether you like it or not, now have a brand new smart school, a brand new health center. And that is what it should be.
All right. Thank you so much for laying it out for us, Igbonekwu, Ogazimorah. Let's talk about specifically the Enugu North Senatorial Zone. I'm sure you've seen some of those posts on social media. They are claiming that they are being marginalized in the current scheme of things. They are saying that they are not seeing infrastructure projects from the governor of the state, and they are also saying that they are not seeing enough appointments, as it were. That they're the ones that made sure that the governor became governor, that they have more votes than everybody.
Well, when you hear that, you are just forced to just laugh, because in the first place, is there any part of Nigeria that is not marginalized? Every part of Nigeria is marginalized. But then, put that aside, is there any local government in Enugu North that doesn't have a chairman and whose chairman is being paid, whose chairman is being given whatever other chairmen are given? You have a situation where people, latch on such what they consider loopholes to call attention to themselves. You cannot say that they are not seeing development indices from this government, since no part of Enugu state has seen development indices more than any other part of Enugu state. You see, unfortunately in Nigeria, because of the unitary system we operate, which we style federalism, we don't hold the constituent administrations responsible. That is why people get upset against the federal government, forgetting that massive resources pass through the hands of the state governments, unaccounted for. After serving, every governor becomes a billionaire. So the people are letting the governors off the hook. Now, come down the line. What about the local government? Every person in Nigeria comes from a local government. Every person in that Enugu North comes from a local government. And the local government, what is the local government chairman doing? The other time I was on television and I said the local government were not performing. And eventually I had a lot of calls, and some people were hostile. But I told them, you see, the local governments, if they do their jobs, the distribution of resources, that's common resources in this country or in this state, will be even. Because if, for instance, the chairman of my local government, following the third schedule, now grades every road in my local government, roads linking communities, not the federal trunk A road, not the state B road, but the local government or community roads. You grade them so that farmers who can evacuate their produce from the farms. You do the culverts so that they can use keke or okada to go to the farms and come back fast, so that people can, those who still rely on some streams or rivers, can gain access to those places without too much difficulties. One of the reasons why we have serious security challenge all over the country is because virtually every part of Nigeria, other than the urban centers, have been left as ungoverned spaces. Ungoverned spaces space means the place where the indices of government cannot get to, even in emergency, at within 2 hours. If somebody is bitten by a snake, the person cannot be getting to a hospital where he can get the anti-snake venom. disease, the vaccine. If there is any emergency security situation, can the security get there? So people are leaving the local governments if indeed they are sincere. If they are sincere, the attention of everybody should be on the local government. If the local governments are saying, as they often say, to do behind the door, that they don't get their allocations, then let them come open. It is a thing that can be fought because the position of the law is clear that this money should go to them. Some people will tell you, no, it is better that this money is in the hands of the state because the state has giant projects. In other words, you are saying that you are wiser than the framers of the constitution who say this is a constant part of Nigeria. Why not say, let us abolish the local governments? Let us now go back to community administration, where you now say every PG is now going to work the structure of government. And then you begin to send out locations to them. And then you begin to help them to organize their finances and their projects and their infrastructure development programs. They're fine. But as long as the local governments are in place, the money designed for them, if indeed they are held by the state government, it's not good. But you see why it is very difficult to talk about this. The local government chairman will never talk. It is only when they leave government or those who have your confidence that will tell you that I was given only 4 million a month to pay the political appointees around me and for my security. And then what about the rest? Over 200, over 400 million. What about the rest? They will tell you the state government took it. Now, the state government took it. That is why you have too much complaints. That is why you have too much frustration in the land. Yes, the state government is doing giant projects. The state government should do the projects within its own means, not within the means of another person. If you are giving money and not giving money, then I take your own. I say my project is bigger. Is that fairness? Is that what it should be? So you do your own. So those people who are saying they are not seeing the presence of the state government, I can tell you this: the government of Peter Mba, I used to call him Mr. P then. His government has done tremendously well. Indeed, in a way, sometimes I say the government overstretched itself, doing too much at a time and everywhere. It is everywhere. There is no word that we say it is not getting about. It's not when you have money personally loaded in your account or in your pocket that you say you have the presence of government. No. We are looking at a situation where everybody is now, you now have a decent secondary school where you can send people. We are now waiting for the government to train the teachers so that we also have smart teachers for smart schools. Once you have that, everybody is good to go.
All right. We'll take a quick break here on Straight Talk. When we return, there is another conversation because yesterday during the program, someone called in and said that the senatorial zone that should indeed be complaining is the Enugu West senatorial zone, that they are the ones who are clearly marginalized. He told me that they have only one tertiary institution there. We'll find out after the break. Stay with us. So welcome back to Straight Talk here on Afia Radio 99.3 FM. I still have also Igbonekwu Ogazimorah here with me. So yesterday, there's a call that pointedly told me that actually if there is a senatorial zone that should complain about marginalization, that it should be Enugu West, that as we speak, they have only one tertiary institution, and that's the Polytechnic Iwolo. So help us put this in perspective also. Why are we not hearing Enugu West senatorial zone stakeholders or whoever complaining? We seem to be hearing more of the complaints from Enugu North. I mean, if you look at Nsukka is typically an urban area, but you cannot really say that of Udi. For instance, you can't say that of Udi.
Okay, yeah. So it is true, Enugu West is marginalized by all standards. 5 local governments, the least number of wards, the least number of members of the State Assembly, the least number of members of the National Assembly, that is House of Reps. And then what you can call a semi-tertiary institution. That semi-tertiary institution is so epileptic, it's not even known. It's quite obscure. Either because resources are not sent there or concerted effort is not made to lift it. At the time, they were speculating that it was going to be University of Agriculture. I don't know whether they have become one at the moment. Enugu West is the only senatorial zone that does not have an urban center or a city or rising city of its own. Enugu North has Nsukka. Yes, with the university, it has been drawing people. Enugu East, of course, 3 of its local governments abode into the Enugu urban. But then they also have Abad, which has everything, even at a smaller scale, which Nsukka has, which Enugu has. It has this higher institution, it has everything. You have people who are not even from Enugu State electing to live in Abani with their families, going there or in the vicinity, that is Ozala, Ube, Amore, these other small towns there, buying lands, building homes, and staying there. So the characteristics of the urban area is there. Enugu East has only 2 junction towns, main junction towns, the 9th Mile, and then
Okay, that's you mean Enugu West.
Enugu West, sorry. No, just 2 junction towns. And these junction towns are not even consciously developed. It is, look at the planning there.
You think it's merely accidental because people gather for commerce?
Yes, people are there is a transit town. So when you look at people, you know, ordinarily somebody will tell you, I'm an Abani boy, I'm an Nsukka boy, be born and bred in Nsukka, born and bred in Abani. You cannot have I'm a 9th Mile boy, right? Unless you talk of the adjoining villages, where you say I'm an Eke boy, I'm an Ugo guy, I'm an Nsude guy.
Yeah.
So nobody is consciously doing anything. Even in the haste of the government to erect housing estates, which is now the intent for the state government, you take community lands and then you plot estates, much has not been heard of 9th Mile or any other urban area. You see, Enugu West has a lot of problems, political problems. It is one senatorial zone that suffers this problem of 2 subcultural zones, which shouldn't matter, which already studied, indicating that they are one. but in reality, it's not accepted because of present practices. When ordinarily in Enugu East, you say Nkanu people.
That's correct.
Nkanu people, Nkanu shop. It in Enugu West. So in Enugu West, you are not having a convergence, cultural convergence. Rather, you are having divergence. I know that some lifting of the Abaja consciousness, but even in that Abaja, so many people do not accept the Abaja, and they say it. Only a few accept it when it is politically expedient. So this may be one of the reasons why that concentration in feeling is not there. Yes, it is a surface understanding.
Because broadly you have Greater Ogun, and then you have what you now refer to largely Abaja.
Yes.
So could this be the reason why there is that dryness? Because you have two cultural groups fused into one, but are they really one?
Well, as I told you, it is not supposed to be so. I don't want to raise this controversy of those people being Abaja, but the truth is that they are, right? When we go down to history, they are. It's just like some people from history are saying they are not Kano. When they are shown the historical indices, they will know that they are Kano. Because we are working by the principles of these colonial derivatives in Nigeria. If, as at 1912, the colonial master says you are of this culture, and the old map says Nike, that is Nike tradition, and you are part of it, you never protested. You cannot just begin to say you are no longer Kano. So in the Enugu West, in Abaja, it was the same thing. It's just that because of political feelings, certain persons want that division because it favors them. But I don't want to go into that unless it becomes a full-blown discussion. But the truth is that it is a factor. What you just asked is a factor. That is the divergent trend I'm talking about. You have Great Dog, and that Great Dog is stronger than even Abaja.
All right. Okay. And sorry. Now that we are here, let me ask this question, and that is, it is expected that when this current governor is done with his tenure, power returns to Enugu West. And when it returns, it will not go to Udiazago because Sullivan was from the Udiazago stock. It will go to Greater Oak. So, but some people are telling me quickly, even when I do this analysis, that it's not like that. That Enugu West is Enugu West. Is Enugu West when it comes to who becomes governor, maybe in 2031?
This is a very difficult question. You see, the person who said Enugu West is Enugu West. The person is right. But for the sake of equity and the peace we are talking about, so that we have less acrimony, it should go to Great Oak. That is the truth. It is better if we really think we believe in equity, we think we want to be our brothers' keepers, we agree that for peace to reign, for us to institute culture of fair sharing, looking after ourselves. To me, which is a personal opinion, I didn't discuss this with anybody. I think it should go to Great Oak. That is what I think. I may be wrong, but I have just used those elements: fairness, equity, good conscience, the sharing principle we have had over time. It should go to Great Oak. But then, I do not want that controversy to start from me.
That's right. But I mean, commonsensically, that's what everybody will expect because The reason why you now have Peter Mba from Kano East is because, yes, Enugu East had produced a governor before, but it will be odd to the governor to emerge again from Kano West. So Kano East hasn't tasted it, and it was moved sideways to Enugu East. And the question is it paying off? Yes, somebody would say. The Kano East axis has been opened up. We'll open the phone line so that other people can have a say on this conversation. Call us on 0911 6993 993. 0911 6993 993. That is the number to call us on here on Straight Talk here on Alpha Radio 99.3 FM. 0911 6993 993. That's the number to call us on here on Straight Talk. And I mean, it looks like the whole political fiesta is setting in gradually. Hello, good morning. Good morning to you. What's your name and location? You're welcome.
All right. I quite enjoyed the color analysis of your guest. You know, our state witnessed mass exodus of e-citizens. Some, those that went to Lagos, Abuja, Onitsha, all over. It's like they told us to leave our ancestors or spirit. Everyone was living here. So, recently relocated, and we're still learning the structure of Enugu and all these things. So this gives a lot of in-depth knowledge as to what constitutes Enugu. All right. Like we said yesterday, democracy requires for someone to say where it is paying them. All right. The democracy doesn't support silence, because once you are silent, it really assume that you are okay. And that translates in our side, like in our own village. Let me use experience I have gotten there. Anything that concerns government, when you want to talk, they say, I have to go to the government. The government. Government. So we have institutionalized this. Check on the government, check on the government. And by so doing, Bugola are part of us. But the government has its duty, the citizens have their duty. And this becomes a very big argument when you sit together. All right? People see you as if you are saying something out of the point. So I don't blame people that are complaining that we don't get this or we don't get that. But I just want that complaint to be structured properly. Like your guest saying, is there a local government chairman that will say that his allocation is being denied? So the complaint should be rather directed appropriately where it should be. And those that kept silent, he should be motivated to start speaking. Because if you keep quiet, people will assume you are okay. Every Enugu West that is listening to this program, it's time to sit up. Why? I don't even know the reason Enugu West has 5 local governments. I don't know why. Is it geographical reason, or is there anything that necessitates? Maybe we start from there. This equity has to go round. It has to go round. People have to wake up, stop sleeping, and start demanding for your rights. If you don't demand it, no one will demand it for you.
All
That's
right.
my contribution. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. 0911 6993 993. 0911 6993 993. If you call us, try to keep your thoughts as short as possible so we can accommodate other people on the program. 0911 6993 993. 0911 6993 993. This is Straight Talk on Afia Radio 99.3 FM. And of course, we are touching on the issue of triangular equilibrium. If you like, you say zoning. If you like, you call it anything. But just on the side, we've had a situation where the APC in Enugu State have produced they have a new chairman, Dr. Martins Chukwumike, who was the PDP chairman just a while ago. Just need to get the quick thoughts of Ozo Igbonekwu Ogazimorah on that. the PDP has turned into the APC here in Enugu State. And someone would quickly ask you, why would the person who was chairman in PDP also become chairman in the APC? Also,
Yeah.
I mean, he was chairman in the PDP. Now he's chairman. He has emerged as chairman within the APC.
Well, there's something you have to get right. The governor is the leader of the party in his state. He is a factor that determines who becomes the chairman, who becomes party functional. It is a democracy, but then the truth is that in the Nigerian party system is dictatorship, not real democracy. So the governor is on track to determine who becomes the chairman. So, and Martin Chukwueke may have served him very well as chairman of PDP, may have been a very good chairman. Of course, I know Martin Chukwueke, a very good guy, and I think straightforward guy, too, humane and humble. So there's the reason for the attraction, and the governor considers. You know what you call APC now, were PDP. They moved the mass, so nothing really changed. Nothing really changed. They moved the mass to constitute the APC. Though the remnants of APC before they came in was quite insignificant. So it's not strange that the PDP is dominating in APC in Enugu State.
All right. Hello. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning to you. Yeah, Utitoma. What's your name and location?
It's Enugu.
No.
We have the other Pacarito can go to that. But we're Enugu, Ebamon was Enugu and an area of maka na oge anyị ka na-agụ akwụkwọ ka emere ka anyị mata na dibịa bekee oyibo mbụ esere n'afa dọkịta ọnwụ, mana anyị bịara afa taa enweghị na-egosi na mmadụ dịka ahụ ọ bụrụ na ọ bụ mba dịka akụkụ ebe ọzọ gasị n'obodo a ka arụgoro ihe mbipụta ụlọ ọgwụ ihe a ga-eji wee na-eweta aha onye bụ dibịa bekee mbụ na ala Igbo niile, mana onweghị ha ji ereta anyị nọ n'Enugu West. Ọ dị mkpa ka onweghị ha ji wee reta anyị maka dọkịta anwa onye chọrọ itinye.
Ọ dị mma, daalụ. 0916993 993 that's the number you can call us on here on Straight Talk as we continue the conversation, and we're gradually inching close to the end of the program. But I'd like to ask you a question at this point. Also, there is a lot of clamor, and part of that clamor, I've already laid the foundation for that. The complaint from Enugu North is that if they are not pacified, that come 2027, they will take their pound of flesh. So, how much pound of flesh do you think they can take? I mean, let us assume that there is a Shylock in the building.
Well, the truth is that, sometimes when people make public statements, they are perfect in disguising their identity or their interests. Any person who is making short threats is doing that for his own personal political interests, not on behalf of the Enugu North. Because Enugu North is getting everything, indeed more than every other part, particularly more than Enugu West, right? If they should talk about triangular equilibrium, they are the gainers. Enugu West is the loser, because triangular equilibrium means equal for every part. So the number of wards they have, even if they have 300 or 300, and Enugu West has 200 based on configuration. Enugu West should have the same 300, and the same thing with Enugu East. So, but then, let it not look like I'm being hosted anymore. The reality is that any person making that statement is a politician. If anybody who has been a bit long on this terrain, this field, we know when a politician is talking for his interest.
Just a quick one. The other brother of Kenneth Okonkwo has just been appointed special advisor to the Enugu State Governor on political matters, Enugu North Senatorial Zone. So is it now okay for Enugu West to clamor for theirs?
It will not satisfy those who are saying that. But these people saying these things are talking about me, themselves. Not you appointing any. They have somebody in mind to be appointed. May not be that Kenneth Okonkwo, that Okonkwo.
Yeah.
May not be that guy. So appointing him is not going to be. It's not going to give them what they want, and they will continue to protest. And when you say pound of flesh, you are taking pound of flesh. Is it not one vote you have? You are one person in that Enugu North. There are other people, hundreds of thousands, from the same Enugu North. They are not thinking like you. Everybody has his own thought. When it comes to election, everybody will give his thought. So I think it is either maturish or childish to even talk about pound of flesh. Pound of flesh or against who? Pound of flesh against who? You can very well go to another party and contest.
Absolutely. After all, this is a democracy.
Yes.
I have to thank you so much.
Yes.
Also, Igbonekwu Ogazimorah.
Thank you very much.
The former Commissioner for Information in Enugu State and Editor-in-Chief SBS, or the SBC? SBS. Great interviews. Thank you so much for your insight on the program.
Thank you very much.
And that's Straight Talk for this morning. We'll be back here tomorrow, same time, for another episode of the program. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other. Good morning.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.